What's happening, guys? Sea bass of the ocean, chilling with my boy Remy. And so let's just get straight into it, man. I wanted to talk about this phenomenon of like how much you care about others' opinions of you, others' like input, and basically where to value someone's input and where to kind of just shelf it, like disregard it, let it be said, but maybe don't listen to it. Don't like take it on as a truth or let it linger, right? Now, why I speak to this is because I've experienced every aspect of the different phases of saying you don't care about what someone thinks when you actually do care, or kind of like not wanting to care but still being influenced and affected by a perspective of somebody, right? And I've also completely not cared about what someone said and moved forward and left it there, kind of thing. And I do believe there is a bit of a formula, a bit of a approach to do this correctly, right? And just kind of off the cuff, just like freestyling as I do, I would say when you are listening to someone critique you or tell you what you should do or influence your decisions, you have to look at where it's coming from. So someone who has never studied a given field and is giving you instructions on how to move forward, like let's say you're somewhat in a field, becoming an expert in something, right? Or let's keep it simple, right? So houseplants, okay? Someone who has been a gardener, who has been watering plants, has had all types of plants, they would be a good person to listen to as far as what you should do with your first beginner plants, or like the first, fruit tree you're trying to grow, this kind of thing. They have expertise, they have something under their belt that deems them qualified to speak on this topic, right? Now, when it comes to more creative stuff and like art and music, it is a little subjective, what one person thinks sounds good, another could not, and it's just kind of that balancing act to come into the final piece of art and, be done with it and release, and hopefully people like it. Now, it's interesting how I see so many people speak on things that they are not experts in, they are not qualified to speak on. And a part of protecting yourself, depending where you kind of align, is like, not talking about the choices, the dilemma you're in, the fork in the road of going which way, kind of thing. Because people love talking about what you should do. And even if it's coming from a good place, it's not always the right move for you. I like to think many parents have the best of interests for their children, and sometimes it's not the right move for the kid. And their insecurities and fear bleed into them saying what you should or shouldn't do. And you have to kind of see that as it's unfolding. Again, going back, if you're making a song, you're making a painting, you're doing some kind of creative thing, and someone comes in and tells you how to go about it, like, no, this is how you should do it, you should do it like this, don't do it like that, and they've never made a song themselves, they've never painted a picture themselves, they've never gone through, been around, like limited association to the thing, that's not credible information. For myself, like being into the arts, being focused on like building some kind of brand and like developing products, someone to tell me how to move and I look at them not have a business, not have a flow with art, it basically means nothing to me. Like, sure, it's insight, like I will hear it, but when I look at who you are, it doesn't really stand up to you to be speaking on those things and me to actually listen to you and take that on as like, oh, that's good advice, oh, I should listen to this person. You got to see like, okay, do I admire something about this person? Do they have more success? Do they have more experience? for me to give them my undivided attention and really keen in, think about it, and value what they have to say. And do you want their life? Again, going back to the admiration, like, do you want to live a life similar to theirs? Then listen to their advice, right? They probably have good reason to say the things they do, and it's credible. A lot of people lack credibility as they speak with their opinions as if it's truths. And that can be discouraging when you're uncertain, right? When you're unsure of yourself, hearing all these opinions kind of muddies up the water, makes it hard to just kind of lock in and focus on the one element of whatever you're trying to do. So that gets a little tricky. It's good to know where someone stacks up in your inner circle or in your acquaintance circle, coworkers, this, that, and the third. People who are scared to do something just kind of sit back and critique, from what I've encountered. Even people with dreams and they want to do all these things, they kind of just sit back and become a critic because they kind of, I think the psychology of it is like they see someone dreaming big, they see someone going for something that they're a little bit jealous, a little envious that they have the audacity to go for something bigger than playing it safe or sitting back and just not really moving forward with a project. So those kind of people, it comes back to this philosophy of like hurt people hurt people. When someone is really struggling mentally, been through some traumatic experiences, they walk away from those experiences scarred and sometimes with open wounds and bandages, you know? And it's hard for them to just be happy overall. And when you're miserable on the inside and unhappy, you can't make somebody, like if you can't help yourself, you can't really help anyone, in my opinion. But very scarred, wounded people have the craziest of opinions, and they toe this very strict line of what you should do and what is acceptable, what is not, based on their fear and based on their poor experiences with who knows what kind of encounter, failed businesses, rough relationships, like, you know, it goes on and on. So you got to identify who is a credible source of information and who is just kind of talking out their neck, and just be able to categorize them. People are allowed to have their opinion, and hey, someone who is out of the field could have a very important look at something, but check the tone. You know, does it feel like they're coming from a place of they want to see you do well, or is it coming from a place of like their own fear and insecurities leaching into what they're telling you? And just kind of compartmentalize that, throw it away, and again, associate, try to find people that can kind of be a mentor or a guide into what you're trying to do.